what I've heard from his story, his testimony.
That's right.
And we want to make sure that we support them the best way that we can. So we love you, and thank you for coming to visit us. On last week, or 2 weeks ago, we began a new series entitled Vision. Somebody shout Vision.
Vision.
Somebody shout a little louder. Vision.
Vision.
We started a new series entitled Vision, and we used the passage of the man whose vision was healed, was restored, was given by Jesus with 2 touches. And in that we saw that there's 3 stages. There's the phase of being sightless, there's the phase of having sight, and then there's the phase of having vision.
Yeah.
And that's what we're using for a paradigm these next few weeks. And some of us can say, I've been there in my life before. I had no sight. Then I had sight, but here's what the text says. God had given him some sight, and the man looked at Jesus. Jesus was like, can you see? Not yes or no. The man said, I see men, but they look like trees.
Yeah.
Because he saw, but he didn't see it correctly. And that's where we paused and said, if you still looking back at 2020, 2021, the last 5 years, and you see a whole bunch of drama and a whole bunch of problems and a whole bunch of pandemic, but you don't see anything about God, anything God is doing, then maybe you're stuck in the phase of sight. But thank God that God can give you another touch and move you forward to vision. God can give you vision. Vision is where you look at what you see, but God allows you a glimpse into what could be.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a good working definition for today. Vision is when you can look ahead of you and you can see, but God gives you a glimpse into what could be. That's what I thank God for. I want to cultivate a culture and an atmosphere in the church here where there are other visionaries. I don't need you to wait just for my vision. I need us to cast vision together. That means you can look at messed up systems, messed up churches, messed up people, messed up families, and you can say, I see reality, but God has also given me a glimpse of what could be. And that's what I'm working towards. That's what I'm speaking towards. That's what I'm praying towards. Not just what I see, but what could be. That's what we're doing with Vision for this series. And so I want to just jump straight into the text today. If you hold with me, I'll be right where you want me after a while. But Ephesians chapter 5 on your smartphones, tablets, or maybe you got a physical Bible. If not, I'll read it for you. Just make sure I'm not lying when you get home. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 25 through 28. And I'm going to be reading from the Message version, Eugene Patterson's Message Bible translation, verse 25 through 28. Verse 25 reads this way: Husbands, go all out in your love for your wives. Exactly as Christ did for the church, a love marked by giving, not getting. Christ's love makes the church whole. His words evoke her beauty. Everything he does and says is designed to bring the best out of her, dressing her in dazzling white silk, radiant with holiness. And that is how husbands ought to love their wives. They're doing themselves a favor since they're already one in marriage. Here's what I want to use as a text today, and when I give it to you, I want you to preach it back, holler back at me. The topic today is, somebody shout crazy.
Crazy.
Somebody shout love. Love. Somebody shout crazy love.
Crazy love.
Crazy love. That's what we're going to use as a subtitle. I want to use God's vision for the church. Crazy love, God's vision for the church. Let us pray. We'll jump straight into it. God, we thank you so much for this moment, this worship moment. God, this opportunity to tell you just how much you mean to us. And God, now that we've gone through praise and worship, we've gone through our adoration, God, we move into the part of our service where we receive a word from you. And so, God, I pray that you will fully take over me. God, I pray that I'll be filled with your spirit, filled with your new identity you've given me, so I can speak as you would have me to speak. Because, God, there's some people here who would say, God, we need a word on this afternoon. And God, we don't want to leave the same way we came. So God, give us good information. God, give us inspiration. But God, more than anything, give us transformation. When you do that, we'll give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. These and all things in Christ's name. Somebody shout amen.
Amen.
Amen. I'll never forget, if you're ever bored, you ought to take some time and look at some of the crazy laws that have been passed in United States history. It'll captivate you. You'll be surprised some of the laws that you've seen. And there's one law I want to lift up as an example on today, and I believe that if I had to ask you whether this law makes sense, the room would be split 50-50. There's one law, I know it was a law in Texas, I know it was also a law in Mississippi, but it was a law in a few other states. And the law went something like this. Homicide is justifiable in the case of adultery. I'm gonna back it up, give it to you again, because some of y'all so sleep, y'all just missed what I said. Now, it's not a law in Tennessee, don't get it twisted, not a law in Tennessee. Here's what the law says. This has been a law in a few states all the way up until at least the mid to late 1900s. Some of them may still be, you never know. But there was a law that said that homicide is justifiable in the case of adultery.
Mercy.
Now I'm speaking big words, I'm about to bring it down to elementary school. The bus is coming back, watch this.
Bring it back.
Homicide, killing somebody, is justifiable, you'll get away with it. In the case of adultery, the person you've committed to stepping out and messing with somebody else. Elementary school version, you can kill somebody and get away with it. In some states, as long as you caught them in the act of messing with somebody else. Now there's some folks who's gonna say, now that law don't make no sense. And then there's a few people, I ain't gonna say they're mostly women, but there's a few people I say, there's a few people, big honey, there's a few people that can say, this law make a little bit of sense. For some of us, if we'll be honest, it makes sense. You don't raise your hands, but some people say, I take the vows through sickness and death, for better or worse, real serious. Maybe you've seen Medea. Yeah, I'm talking about Medea's Family Reunion. Where, y'all seen that movie? Where Medea's Family Reunion, there was a woman who was being played and was being cheated on. And finally, Medea found out about it, and Medea gave her what some of y'all will consider divine providential instructions. Said you need to learn how to play grit ball. So you throw it with one hand, and you hit it with the other hand. Called it grit ball. Okay. Some of y'all know another Medea movie by the name of The Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And that movie was kind of hard to watch because he packed up all of her stuff. Y'all help me, Rachel helped me remember these movies earlier. He packed up all of her stuff, put it in a U-Haul, still married, but found another woman, packed up the wife's stuff, put it in a U-Haul, sent her packing. Went to court, got shot, and is now paralyzed from the waist down. Found out that the woman that he chose only wanted him for his money. And so now he's paralyzed. His new woman left him. And watch this, and here's the twist. He's still married to the old woman that he packed up her stuff. Y'all got to watch this movie every once in a while. Watch this, Andrew. And so watch this. I remember there was a real crazy part of the movie where she got upset, said he didn't smell good. And she went and dumped him in the bathtub. You got to remember, he's paralyzed, so he's sitting there with the water up to here blowing bubbles. And she said, stop blowing bubbles. She's getting upset. She's beating him and she's doing all these things to him because she found out that he cheated on her. Called himself sending her packing. Maybe you've seen the movie This Christmas. Now this one's my saying. I didn't need help on this one, y'all. When he pretended that he was in California just doing business. You seen this, Shauna? And the whole time he was doing business in California, they found out that he had another woman in California. Yeah, and so when she finally found out, she told him jump in the shower. And when she told him to get in the shower, she put baby oil all over the floor, didn't spare one drop. And when he got back out the tub, she took her belt and beat him for her and his mama at the same time. Because she found out that he was cheating. I don't want to seem biased like Hollywood does, so maybe you've seen the movie The Best Man. Where my fellas at? Maybe you've seen the movie The Best Man. On The Best Man, we had this upstanding, righteous, loving husband.
Stay right there.
It hit the exact same. This loving, upright, blameless, spotless husband, Andrew. to read his best man's book.
Oh, Lord.
And while he's reading the best man's book, he finds out about his best man's love affair with a woman. Come to find out that this blameless, upright, one woman loving man, hashtag black men don't cheat. This one woman loving man is come to find out that his best man has slept with his wife. And watch this. Can I watch this? And so watch what the best man did. The best man said, "Why don't you just pray about it?"
Mercy.
Y'all know what he said? So I don't want to pray about it. And watch this. In all of these occasions, you find humans trying to figure out what to do. If somebody who I was in a committed covenant relationship with were to step out, mess with somebody else. And watch this. I think if we could think about all those crazy people, we'd all call them crazy. Some of y'all call them sane. I'm going to call them crazy. The one who played brick ball.
Yeah, she's saying.
The ones who told him to drown, stop blowing bubbles in the bathtub.
Perfect, she's saying.
I need some help. Say, man, they sure got some crazy ideas. And the ones that actually came up with the law, that if you find them in the act, you can kill them and get away with it.
Mercy.
We call them crazy, but watch this. If we knew that was the case, ain't no way in the world I know messing with a married woman is going to get me shot. I'm going to mess with that married woman.
Well,
Okay, if you know messing with this married man is going to get you jacked up. Now, we're not going to talk about all the other married men. But if you know messing with this married man is going to get you messed up. I'm trying to help somebody who's still out here in these streets, y'all. Watch this. I'm trying to make it plain. I don't want to see nobody on the news. I don't want to see nobody on the news. If you know messing with this married spouse is going to get you messed up, you're going to tell yourself, all these other fish out here in the sea, I'm not going to mess with the one that's going to give me a death wish. Watch this. Because I know that their spouse is crazy. It's crazy. Now watch this. It's crazy. It's crazy that somebody can feel like they love you so much that if they can't have you, they'll kill. If I can't have you, oh, y'all felt like y'all said that before. If I can't have you by myself, then won't nobody have you. And you know that they're crazy because they said, I love you so much, I'll kill for you. You know they're crazy, you're going to leave them alone, you're going to leave them alone. Now watch this. If you think it's crazy, some of y'all, if you think it's crazy because they're willing to kill for their spouse, Jesus says, I'll take it another level. I'm going to do something so crazy, won't none of y'all agree with it. Jesus said, you thought they was crazy, some of y'all. You thought they was crazy for killing because of their spouse. Jesus says, I'm crazier. Jesus says, I'm so crazy, I'll die for mine. Now I'm going to talk to somebody who's trying to be in some real deep waters of love in their relationship. I remember I had COVID when it first came around. I had COVID in June 2020, and I was sitting there, and I was like, hey, I need to know before I get married what my wife will do in a situation like this. They go, I'm not lying. I said, wait a minute. I need to know if I'm on my deathbed and I'm contagious. Do they love me enough to still be with me? Or are they going to isolate the premises? And watch this. Because there's one level of love that say, I'll retaliate for you. Oh, I'll fight for you. But it's a whole nother level of love. Tanisha, it's a whole nother level of love. When somebody says, I won't just kill somebody for you. They say, I'll sacrifice myself for you.
That's love.
Watch this. Here's the point. If you ain't gonna mess with somebody because they're at tier 2 level of crazy, and you're not gonna mess with their spouse, then you may want to be careful messing with Jesus, who's level 3 crazy, messing with his. Here's what the text says. I just drew it up and some of y'all still missed it, but you'll get it on the way home. Watch this. If you wouldn't mess with a crazy person because they'll kill you and that's a standard of crazy love, then why would you mess with the bride of a man who's even crazier than the crazy one and mess with Jesus' church? See, this is why you got to be careful, because if you know that they're real crazy, you ain't just going to not mess with them, you're going to leave them alone. Have y'all not seen the movies I've seen? Okay, let me bring it on. Have y'all not seen some of the people I've seen? Now imagine how crazy they are. Jesus says, I'm crazier. And here's the question I want to ask you. Do you see Jesus' bride the same way Jesus sees his bride? Watch this. Do you see Jesus' people the way Jesus sees Jesus' people? Because the same way you would say, if I'm finna get shot, it ain't worth it. Some people say shooting's too easy. If I'm gonna get stabbed to death, I'm gonna get poisoned, it's not worth it. And that's crazy. Jesus says, then how much more caution should you take with my church?
That's good.
And you can't even talk about church without putting it in context of Jesus saying, that's mine. Watch this. Because when I say church, I ain't talking about a building. When I say church, I'm talking about people. You got to be careful talking about me without recognizing that Jesus is going to say, he's mine. You got to be careful talking. You got to be careful putting your hands on, putting your words on people when Jesus says, there's so much mine. Watch this. And Jesus said, I'm so crazy that you probably need to leave him alone. Now watch this. Here's the premise, that in order to see the church correctly, you have to keep in mind that the church belongs to Christ. If you miss that, you'll never see the church properly. So I want to give you three quick points. I promise. Now here's for the record. I'm not advocating for nobody to pull a Medea or best man or this Christmas. Don't go kill nobody and say the preacher told you to do it. It's just an example that for your level of crazy, God always got a crazier. Now watch this. Point number 1. Remember who the church is connected to. Remember who the church is connected to. In order for you to see the church properly, you have to know who the church is connected to.
Right.
Now, let me give it to you this way. Let me paint it for you. Now I'm going to use myself as the guinea pig. Y'all okay? Now I'm going to use this hypothetical because I won the only basketball game the church has had here. Let's say, I'm going to bring it up every week. Let's say that I'm playing basketball and y'all are all in the audience. Now there's a lot of folks in here, you can probably talk trash about me too. Watch this. But if there's one person in here, you better not talk trash about me as a basketball player next to. You better not do it around my mom. Because if you say I'm trash around Jonathan gonna say, yeah, you trash. But if you say I'm trash around my mother, she gonna say, don't you know who his mother is? Because watch this. I don't want to make it seem like you can never say anything to critique or hold the church accountable. That ain't what I'm saying. Because there's a difference between if I commit a turnover is I throw the ball and the other team catches it. They got the ball now. If I commit a turnover, it's a difference between saying that was a bad pass.
Yeah.
Everybody be like, yeah, that was a bad pass. There's a difference between saying that was a bad pass and he's a trash player. Now see, here's how we mess up talking about the church. We'll see the church fumble the bag. Put down street terms. We'll see the church miss an opportunity to convert and to maximize the opportunity to really be who the church is supposed to be. And rather than saying that was a missed opportunity, we jump to this church is garbage.
That's it. That's it.
And you know what Jesus is saying? Don't you talk about my wife like that? Because it's still my, okay. Y'all don't get it. Everybody's not a parent. Only the mothers got that one. Only the mothers. Y'all remember there was one rule in school. You can talk about a lot of folks. Brandon, you was raised like I was raised. But don't you talk about my mama. Isaiah. Isaiah go to school, he told me just now with the head nod. And say, if you don't like my shoes, you got one joke. If you don't like my shirt, you got one joke. But you ain't got no opportunities to talk about my mama. Because when you talk about her next to me, you forget that I'm connected to her.
Come on.
And when we talk about the church, you have to remember that when we're talking about the church, we're not just talking about these people by themselves. We're talking about these people and the person that purchased these people. Because you have to remember who they're connected to. Okay, point number 2, to keep moving. You have to model what you've experienced. Model what you've experienced. Here's how the church captures its vision. The church captures its vision by modeling what the church has experienced. Now here's the point. Don't model what you experienced from the church. Model what you experienced from the Christ. See, there's a difference. It's one thing for me to say, oh, I love how the church did this. Yeah, okay. Oh, I love how the church used to do that. Right, we want to model what the church has done, what made us feel good. But the question is that what the church did, or is that what Christ is about? Okay. There's a difference between a source and a resource. I ain't giving it to you in a while. Let me give it to you again. See, I got a plug up here, and if I have a lamp, I can change light bulbs all day long. I can put the lamp right here. I can change the light bulb, and if the light bulb's not plugged, the lamp is not plugged in, it will not light up. You can change the light bulb. You can change the shade. You can change the base. If you're really good, you can go and rewire the whole lamp. But if you don't allow the lamp to touch the source, the lamp will not function like it's supposed to. But the moment you take the lamp and plug it into the outlet, you've taken the resource, connected it to the source, and now the resource reflects the essence of the source. That's how I get real confused when we talk about being the church. But we can't even smile when we come in here. I get real confused when we say we the church, but we don't reflect the generosity of the Savior that died for us. I'm so tired of stingy, keep to myself Christians. Because watch this, you model what you've experienced. He says, here's how he puts it in the text. I want you to know what's in the text. Husbands, love your wives as I love the church. He says, the same way that I show love to the church is the way you need to show love to those around you. And here's the question. Is how you're acting and behaving and living, is it reflective of the church? Or is it reflective of the Christ?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what this looks like from a personal perspective. I know what it's like to be excluded. I know what it's like to be left out.
All right.
Now, I don't know what it's like to be picked last on the playground, Jonathan, but I know what it's like to be left out. But then I also realized that when Christ died for me, he didn't leave me out. Which means that when Christ is going out of his way on behalf of somebody else, he's doing it to be inclusive. Okay, you don't like that example. Jesus says, I'll leave the 99 to come after the one. And here's what happens. The church would like to say, well, I believe the 99 are favored. And you have to say, no. Jesus, the one is not over here because God is excluding him.
Right.
The one is over here because God is still in the process of bringing the one to the 99 for the number to equal 100. Watch this, because God is a God of inclusion. So I had to ask myself the question, how is it that I serve a God who's inclusive, but I'm in the most exclusive church?
Talk about it.
On the United States soil. I promise I've tested it. Matthew, I ain't lying. I done tested it against Catholicism. I've tested it against Buddhism. I've tested it even against Southern Baptists. I've tested it against evangelicals. And I had to ask myself the question, if I know God to be inclusive, watch this, of even me, then how is it that the church, the body, would be living in a way that does not reflect the one who died for it? Because you have to model what you've experienced. If you've experienced love, you have to model love. If you've experienced kindness, you have to model kindness. If you've experienced patience, I'm talking about the kind of patience where Jesus says, I knew you was going to mess up, and I'm still going to wait for you to get it right. I'm talking about the kind of patience where Jesus says, you know what? I'm going to give you something that's worth more than you are, not because you're worth it now, but because I hope that one day your life will reflect the sacrifice. You have to model what you've experienced. Watch this with point number 3. You are more connected than you think. You are more connected than you think. This is God's vision for the church. Remember, we're not talking about the building. We're talking about this is God's visions for God's people. And the text says, here's what it says in the text, and I'll give it to you. Watch this. He says that when husbands do all this as Christ did for the church, when they do it for their wives, they're really doing themselves a favor because they're already one. Which means he's telling the husbands, I need you to love your wife the way Christ loved the church, because now you and the wife are one. Okay, let me get, I remember I was playing basketball and 2 of my teammates started beefing. Of course it was over a girl, but 2 of my teammates started beefing. And one of them refused to pass the ball to the other one. Wide open. And they move it right past them. Watch this. There's nothing more destructive than when God creates something to be one, but you allow yourself to get in the way of the one. Here's what Jesus is saying. Here's what Jesus is saying when he shows us what real love is. Not love to kill, but love to give. He said, really what I was doing, I was preserving the one. Jesus says, because if I get upset at my people, and I killed everybody, we went from 1 to 0.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Huh.
Okay, y'all a little slow. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to you, don't worry.
Which,
You're one. We are the world, we are the people. Y'all know that song? We're one. And the moment that we allow ourselves to put a fracture in it or get upset at what part of us did, and we decide to retaliate against the us, then really I've done harm to myself.
That's it.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why you have to be careful how you treat people you disagree with. That's why you have to be careful how you treat people that you don't like. Because if we're all one and you get upset and kill everybody, have y'all noticed that a lot of times when people go on a mass killing spree, you know who the last person they kill is? And then there was none. Right? Jesus says, look, in order for my people to properly see themselves, you have to know that if you get rid of the big toe, the whole body's gonna fall. Anybody? Morgan, you ever jam your toe?
Oh yeah. Lost the whole toenail.
What's the first thing you do?
Fall to her.
You either gonna fall down or sit down. Because when one part of the body goes down, the whole body is going down with it. So here's God's vision for the church. Number one, you have to know who it's connected to. I'm not going to talk about God's church without recognizing I'm also talking about God. I'm not going to talk about God, Christ's church, without recognizing I'm talking about this crazy man's wife. You got to remember that God would never intend, Christ would never intend for his church to behave in a way that's separate from the one who died for it. Okay, let me give it to you this way. If you want to honor, this is one of my pet peeves, you want to honor the legacy of Dr. King, don't name a street after him.
Well.
Or school.
Let me tell you what happened. Black bodies killed all in the street, laid there for hours. Guess what your Congress decided? We're going to name the street Black Lives Matter. Now we're going to rule in a way that, not we going to decide in a way where Black lives show that they matter.
Right.
We just going to name it Black Lives Matter. No, if you want to honor the Black Lives Matter movement, start treating Black life like it really matters.
Come on.
If you want to honor Dr. King, don't name the street after him. Look out after poor people. If you want to honor Christ, don't put a name on a building.
Okay.
Learn how to live like he lived. Learn how to love like he loved.
That's right, that's right.
Somebody said, what's the most important doctrine y'all talk about at Reform? Love. Because love lifted me.
That's it.
Watch this. But last point, because I got to close. Last point is that we're all connected. Now, I'm going to illustrate it this way, then the sermon is yours. We're talking about God's vision for the church, and you cannot properly assess a direction until you can assess your identity. So that's why I can't say, here's God's vision for the church. God's vision is, go buy this building. No. Who's buying the building? Because if you don't know who's buying the building, you ain't finna act right when you get the building. So we talk about God's vision for the church, but we have to be able to see ourselves in the church properly. Watch this. I remember when I was in my days of being highly involved with my fraternity. I'm careful how to say this on live stream. I was in my days of being highly involved with my fraternity, and I used to go visit probates. Say it was somebody else's chapter. I was going and visiting probates, and if you watch a probate, you'll recognize, Matthew, watch this, that whatever one of them does, all of them got to do. So you'll see if you pay attention, fraternity, sorority, especially Divine Nine, but all of these different Greek letter organizations, if you go look at their probates, you'll recognize that when one person bows their head, everybody bows their head. And you'll know, watch this, that it's a bad line when one person is doing stuff other folks ain't doing.
Yeah.
Here's the proper term. You'll know when one person stands out that the whole line probably ain't no good. So I remember I went and I went to a little practice session. And at this practice session, I saw somebody twist an ankle. And watch this. Somebody twisted an ankle, and the person who twisted the ankle fell on the floor. Because that's what we just talked about, stuff. Now tell us what you do when you're hurt. Get on the floor, hold your ankle, roll all over the floor, exaggerate as much as possible. Watch this. I'll be doggone if all of a sudden the whole line didn't end up on the floor.
That's real.
To the point where if you were to have walked in when I saw this, you wouldn't have even known which of them was hurt.
That's good.
Because the line is so connected that when one person shows that their ankle has a problem, somebody else who ain't even got no ankle problem turns around and grabs their ankle. And everybody holding their right ankle at the same time, because they're so connected that whatever one person feels, everybody else feels it in their own way.
That's good.
That's good.
Watch this. The only way for a church to be successful is to recognize that whatever one person feels, I gotta feel it too.
Yeah.
Somebody feel the pain?
Yes, sir.
You got a sharp pain in your side, I got a sharp pain in my side. Watch this. But it only works if you're connected. Because watch this. Watch this. Because if you're not connected, Matthew, I'm going to have a pain in my side, but if all you know is I have a pain, but you're not connected to me, you end up holding the wrong side. And guess what they're going to look and say, Brother Lemon? They lying. They don't even love each other. They sitting in here pretending. Everybody acting like their side hurts, but I can tell it ain't real because one's holding the right side and the other's holding the left side. And you have to be so connected that when one person feels pain, you feel it in your own way. Jesus goes to people who are feeling pain. Jesus goes to people at their lowest moment, and guess what he does?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I can't imagine Jesus. Watch this. Jesus, they bring the adulterous woman to Jesus at her lowest moment, and guess what Jesus does?
That's good.
Jesus says, however low you go, I'm willing to go even lower to get you.
Yeah, that's good.
And the only way the church is going to be successful is when the church decides this is what Jesus was about. We're all going to move in the same direction. Watch this. And even if I don't feel it, I'm going to act accordingly because I'm connected.
Yeah, that's good.
I ain't feeling this new set. I'm connected. I ain't feeling that new. They moved my seat. I'm connected. I felt like they should have done this. I'm connected.
Yeah, that's good.
And if you jump because your ankle hurts, I'm going to pay close attention. And because I'm connected with you, we all going to be hopping on one leg. Because that's what it looks like when we're connected. You grieving? I was sitting back there getting ready for a sermon. Saw Tanisha say she lost another family member. You know what I'm about to do? I'm about to go sit next to Tanisha and say, woo, I can't feel it like you do, but I'm willing to feel it with you until we get past it. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back there to Rachel, who just got a new job.
Hallelujah.
And I'm going to say, my pockets didn't get no bigger, But if you jumping because your pockets got bigger, I'm going to jump with you just in case a little change falls out of your pocket. Because that's how connected we are. Y'all don't know Rachel's the stingy one of the family. She ain't losing a dollar. She ain't losing a dollar. Because that's how connected we are. Watch this. Whoever God has put in your life for you to love, you have to be that connected with them. You know, it's funny. I'm gonna give you this and I'm gonna close. Tracy, I'm gonna come up here because that's gonna hurt me. I remember when the protest happened here in Nashville. I remember I was hanging out with my boy Justin, and he was like, "This is what our agenda is for the day. We gonna go up there. We gonna tell them that we want to demilitarize the police. We want to defund the police. We want accountability for X, Y, Z. We want this, this, this." And it's crazy. I look back at it now. Watch this, Andrew. I look back at it now. And I look at the video where I said defund the police, and when I said it, I didn't even know what it meant. I said something and didn't know what it meant because when I was speaking, I wasn't even speaking on behalf of myself. I'm speaking on behalf of us. So whatever we is gonna say, I'm gonna say it with us. And that's how connected God has called us to be with the people of God. I'm not talking about just the people you like, the people you believe the same as. I'm talking about the people that God has created, the people that God has called, the people that God has moved and positioned into your life. God says, if I have put them into your life, I need you to model loving them like I loved you. I need you to remember who they're connected to. And lastly, I need you to remember that whatever hurts them ought to hurt you. Whatever they're celebrating, you need to celebrate.
That's it.
He says, when you recognize how connected you are, you'll realize what it means to be the church. Dr. King said, a threat to injustice anywhere. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We believe that this house can crumble down without affecting the value of my house. No, if you sell that house for $5, my house just went down. I'm going to help you renovate. Because we all in this together. And that's what it means to be the church. Look, I'm here. If you're done, I want you to take this with you. We're going to be studying different areas of our life that God is trying to get us to see clearer. Is your church reflective of the Christ that you know? Is your life reflective of the Christ that you know? If not, if you see some inconsistencies, it don't even necessarily mean you leave it, but it does mean you start praying. And you got to figure out, God, what am I called to do here? And as for this house, we gonna stick together.
That's good.
I ain't got to agree with you, but if you start hopping, we all finna be a one hopping church. You jump the broom, the whole church jumping with you. We all just got married. Because that's what it means to be connected. That's what it means to be connected. So if you're here, maybe you're saying, man, I want to rededicate my life to a church. If you're here, you're saying, look, I want to go ahead and make it official. This is my church family. If you're here, maybe you're saying, I want to become a part of the church, the capital C church. We love to extend this invitation to you. And that is not our invitation, it's God's invitation, and that is to be a part of this family. We love to study with you. We love to walk through the steps with you and give you the pattern that we find in Scripture for how you can become a part of God's church, as well as a part of this church here at Reform. So whatever you need, please be standing. If you need prayer, whatever it is, we want to celebrate with you. We want to cry with you. We want to be with you.